now to do an on-theme like top 5 list, we're going to share our top 5 sci-fi horror films. So, all right. So, Lily, what's your number 5?
Number 5. Okay, and this is in no particular order, I guess.
Cool. Yeah.
Near Dark.
Okay.
By Catherine Bigelow is, oh my god, it's so good. It's so gross. It's so
Yeah.
good.
I don't think I've seen that film. I probably need to watch it.
It's really good. Bill Paxton just completely gives himself over to the character he plays, and he's just phenomenal in it. The whole cast, like Catherine Bigelow, I think was married to James Cameron at the time, so he got a lot of his actors from like Aliens to come over and like, you know, you be in my wife's movie kind of a thing. But it's really good. It is a vampire movie, but it's good.
Cool. Okay, so my number 5 is The Fly by David Cronenberg. Yeah, that's another movie that's like really got good practical effects that are really creepy and weird. Another body horror film. Yeah, what's his name? Oh, I forget the lead actor.
Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum. He like slowly transforms into, I wouldn't even call it a fly. It's just some weird thing by the end of the film.
Have only seen parts of that because it scared the crap out of me. Like what I saw when I was little, and it was probably censored on like the Sci-Fi Network too.
Yeah.
I walked in and my brothers were watching. I'm like, oh my god!
It's
gross. It was turning into a bug. I can't deal.
It is so gross. There's I don't know if you've seen. There's this one scene, and I guess Cronenberg's really into dream sequences too. I think that's another thing.
That makes sense.
So Gina Davis has a dream where she's pregnant, right? And then she's giving birth. And you can guess what happens there.
I don't want to.
It is disgusting. It is disgusting.
Why would you do that to Gina?
It is disgusting. It is like genuinely like one of the most nasty, disgusting. Great use of practical effects.
See, again, I don't even need to see it to know what David Cronenberg's aesthetic for that scene.
Yeah. You can only imagine. Oh my god. Okay, so yeah, what's your next film on your top 5?
Are we going from 5 to 1, or do you want me to just?
Yeah, from 5 to 1, or whatever order you want to go in.
Number 4 is The Terminator, the original Terminator.
Okay, yeah.
Not Genesis, and not that other one with it.
Not Dark Fate.
I won't see Dark Fate. I can't take another Terminator heartbreak. I can't.
Okay, I feel like at some point we should make a list of top 5 non-Terminator 1 and 2 properties, like film and television. Because I genuinely think that Dark Fate is the best of all the other ones. I think Genesis is the worst.
Oh, Genesis is terrible. The only thing that I actually liked about Genesis was the flashback scene to Sarah Connor as a child and the T-800 coming and rescuing her at like that lake or something. I loved the way it looked. I loved the vibe. I loved just the symbolism of him reaching down and pulling her up. Like that's the movie I would have watched.
Yeah.
Like that right there is a child Sarah Connor hanging out. It's like I would have. Why didn't you give me that?
Yeah, but they're all bad. Everything other than 1 and 2 is bad. Like,
oh yeah.
Period.
All bad.
Yeah, sorry to derail you.
No, you're fine. It happens all the
time. Yeah, and that Terminator is definitely a horror movie.
Oh yeah, very much so.
He is out to kill people, like not some cute kind of stuff. Like he's freaking murdering people.
Yeah, and it's not like if there was a scene where is there a scene where he kills a kid in the first Terminator movie? I don't think there is.
It's been a while since I've seen it. I would not be surprised.
Well, regardless, that's what he would do. He would kill kids. He would kill men, women, children, animals, whatever. Like because when Kyle Reese is like, he will literally not stop until you're dead. Like that's kind of a terrifying thought. Yeah. That you're literally going to be on the run in every other timeline, in every other universe, no matter what. Like you're hunted specifically for this reason, and that's for reasons she has no control over whatsoever, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, that is.
And like that scene when he's like, it's just the exoskeleton crawling.
Yeah,
like his programming should tell him, okay, this cease and desist. You're done. You're gone. Nope.
Yeah, that scene is so good because Kyle sacrifices himself. He puts a bomb
Mm-hmm.
in the Terminator, and you think, okay, this is where the movie ends. And no,
No.
it gets even worse.
No, and that's when she's really alone too. She has got nothing. She has no weapon. She's limping. She's got shrapnel in her leg. Her boyfriend is dead. The guy who was there to protect her is gone.
He just went through a bunch of cops, like killed a whole police station worth of cops.
Yep. And that's the thing that I just hated about Genesis. That Kyle Reese had no edge whatsoever. Like Michael Biehn.
It wasn't Michael Biehn.
Exactly. Michael Biehn had an edge though. He looked starving. He looked
He
looked like he had seen some shit.
Right.
Like they didn't cover up any of his natural scarring that he has on his face. Like
it looked like they just took him off the street. Like, oh, hey, you come be in our movie.
And that's what was so good is that this other guy, I think it was like Courtney something or
Jai Courtney, yeah.
I don't know if he can act, but I really have no plans to find out. No edge. Like this guy doesn't look like he's from a future where he has to eat rats and plasma. Are there gyms in this apocalypse?
I mean, the gym is you're running for your life every day.
Yeah, well, that's not going to give you whatever these things are.
It's not going to give you. You're not going to get traps.
You're just getting cardio, Still. But what is your number 4?
My number 4 is Annihilation. The
good.
Weird that movie. I think so. There aren't a lot of horror movies that really scare me. Annihilation was one that genuinely did scare me. There's a couple scenes in that film that are truly weird.
I think we'll both probably think of one of them's the same too.
Yeah.
Probably.
But yeah, it's a really weird film. Like it's about some asteroid hits Earth and then it starts to create this. I forget what they call it, like the shimmer. It's this.
Yeah. So it kind of looks like a bubble, but.
Yeah, it's like a bubble. It's like a sphere that, and then inside the sphere, no one's ever come out of it, and they don't really know what's going on in it. And the movie just does such a great job. Like they all meet up. They have the team. Team goes in, and the minute they go in, you immediately lose track of time. Like the next scene after they walk in, the characters are like, you can tell that they don't know if they've been there for a day, for 100 days, for like a minute, and it just totally disorients you from the jump. And then weird things happen. Like
it disorients the viewers too because you're relying on these characters to be reliable, and they aren't because they have no frame of reference whatsoever. Which is also tricky because maybe this whole movie did just take place over an hour and a half and one day or something like that.
You have no idea. You have no idea. And they just weirder and weirder things happen. And it leads up to this totally bizarre, very, very strange climax. Mm-hmm. Like that. And I think, unfortunately, that movie was not marketed very well at all. When I went into it, I had no idea what I was getting into. I didn't know it was like a sci-fi horror film. Mm-hmm. Which probably kind of added to the freakiness. So maybe that was a good thing. But I think it kept a lot of people away because like they kind of made it seem like a weird action movie or something. Or
again, that's bad marketing. I think if it had probably been marketed the way it should have been, it probably would have been more successful. I mean, I don't think it bombed or anything like that. I think Arrival also came out around the same time, and I did see Arrival before I saw Annihilation. I was like, well, how can I get better than that? And I do like Arrival more. It just hits a more deeper vein with me. I enjoyed Annihilation on a different level because they're very different films. They're not at all the same. The only thing they have in common is the alien element.
They're very different.
Yeah.
The aliens in Arrival are very much friendlier.
Yes. We can call them Abbott and Costello and make jokes with them, but the ones in the Shimmer will not make jokes with you.
Yeah, who knows? Like, who knows what they'll try to do to you?
Exactly. We don't know what their end game is. We don't know what their goal is.
Or even if they have one. I don't know. Have you ever seen the movie Sphere? It's from the 90s.
A long, long time ago.
I really like that movie. That movie, I watched it as a kid, and it struck me at a really interesting. It struck an interesting chord with me. But in that film, Samuel Jackson's character, he talks about the scariest thing about meeting an alien is that they might be something that would destroy us, but they don't even know it. They're not even trying. Like their chemical compounds could be made up of something that's poisonous to us.
No, exactly. It's like in goddamn War of the Worlds. They didn't think a common cold would kill them, and it did.
Yeah, and it wiped them out. Yeah. So yeah, that's what always struck me about Annihilation. It was a very weird movie. So what's your number 3?
Slither.
Slither is awesome.
Slither's great because a lot of the people in, like, just like the regular folk in the town, remind me of a lot of people I either went to church with or have seen different kind of archetypes of them before. It's just, not that it hit like super close to home or anything like that, but it's like, yeah, I've lived in a town like that before. Like when they're doing the deer run or something like that, it's like they're having like a party and there's like a montage of like the horror elements, and then everyone's having fun, and then someone's screaming, and it's just a funny movie. It is just a genuinely funny movie. Like you're laughing and you're scared, and that combination is really just, it's a better feeling than just being scared.
Yeah, that film is so good. I really like that. That's one of James Gunn's like best films. And he works with a lot of his favorite actors, like Nathan Fillion's in it, and forget the other guy, the guy who like first really gets whatever the alien thing.
O'Rourke or something like that.
Yeah. He's in like almost everything that he's in, like everything. It's fun, it's funny, it's scary. It's kind of, he does some cutesy stuff. Yeah. There's some really edgy jokes and like edgy weird stuff. But
yeah, I still say at work sometimes, it's family fun day, guys. We're gonna have fun.
Yeah, I love that movie.
And yours?
Yeah, so my number 3 is Aliens. So Aliens is my number 3. I feel like we were talking in this movie review about practical effects. Aliens has like some of the greatest practical effects ever.
It's so beautiful.
Ever. It is. Yeah, like the other day I was just like looking at some clips from Aliens, and like when you first see the alien queen, I mean, it is one of the most amazing. Yeah, scary, massive. It's just an amazing scene, and like with like the way it's lit, and like there's all the smoke and stuff, and it's
that's just like it's like T2, it's like taking all the elements that scared us from the first one and upping the ante. And a lot of sequels can't do that, which is why I think most of the time sequels just aren't that. They tried with the second Jurassic Park movie, and while I don't hate the second Jurassic Park movie, the ante was not. It was a bluff entirely.
Yeah.
And like Aliens, like, oh, you thought the foot soldiers were scary? Well, we got a queen.
Yeah.
She has got one hell of a crown, buddy, and she's like. And it's just a phenomenal showdown at the end. Like,
it is phenomenal. Yeah.
If it's on TV or if it's streaming, I always watch it.
Yeah. I feel like that film. I feel like it's so close to being a 10 for me. It's like really close. It's like right on the edge. There's some things that I'm not in love with, but there's so much good in it. And like there's a lot where like when they're first really or like the scene where the face hugger is after Newt and Ripley.
And they're
like
locked
in. Yeah, they're locked in because of frickin' Burke. Piece of garbage.
Why isn't he a meme? Is he a meme yet?
He should be. Burke is the worst.
He is.
Burke is the worst.
But it's got so many elements. Like one of my favorite and least favorite themes in a movie is a betrayal from within, because it has to be for a reason, It has to mean something. And I like Burke's betrayal because, I mean, I guess it's not really a betrayal if that was his plan the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's still a double cross.
Yeah.
Is that he just proves what a coward he is.
Yeah.
Like from the word go, just a total coward. And I think Ripley was always kind of onto him. Didn't know his plan.
Well, Ripley, so like the true enemy, the true bad guy in all the Aliens films is the company.
Every time.
The company is freaking evil. And she knew it. Like the minute she went into that meeting and they were like, oh, it's no big deal. But we'll pay you a lot of money to go back and meet more aliens. She was like, because she was there for one reason, to make sure they're dead And if they're not dead, to destroy them. And that's why she said nuke them from orbit.
Yep. It's the only way to be sure.
The only way to be sure. Nuke them from orbit.
Yeah. There's so much to like about that movie.
Yeah.
It really is. You even are able to fit in a tiny little redemption arc for the captain guy or whoever he was, who didn't know what he was doing, and him and Vasquez are complete polar opposite characters, and you have a mini redemption arc for him. Like,
yeah, he does get redeemed when he takes the
tries, man. At least he's trying. Like, he's passed out through the rest of the movie, but like.
And again, is it really his fault? Like, they should have just killed the aliens, but they wanted to profit off of them.
Exactly. And he panicked. I mean, like, obviously a lot of people died in the process because he panicked. But, like, and because he didn't listen to Ripley. But he's got his faults. But I do appreciate that tiny little, we're not going to forget about this entirely.
Yeah. Showing that the true evil was Burke.
Yeah, the whole time.
Yeah.
Because we can be scared of the aliens, but this guy has way worse. Like, they just want to eat you, probably. I don't know what they make more. I don't know. Use them as hosts, basically.
It's really interesting. Like, half the time they eat you, half the time they just hit you in the head with their inner jaw and then leave you to be, a host.
Yeah, pretty much.
Because the hosting kills you. Like, you're dead.
Oh, yeah. Either way, you're dead.
Yeah.
We don't really need to talk about my number 2 because my number 2 was also aliens. Okay,
cool. All right, so I guess I'll cover my number 2, and we both talked about it, so that's good.
Yeah, exactly.
So my number 2 is The Thing, the John Carpenter version. So yeah, The Thing, again, another movie with great practical effects, very scary.
One hell of a little actor dog they had. Like, that dog is like menacing before the shit really hits the fan, but
yeah, it's so well done too, because like. One of the things I've really found interesting is, like, if you do the doppelganger thing right, it's really scary.
Yes.
Like, the idea of something that can act like it's human but is not is really scary, because then you're like, you kind of don't know, like, who to trust or what to trust, and it makes you paranoid, and it gives you that uneasy feeling. And, you know, that famous scene where he's, like, testing everyone's blood, and then...
Yeah, now everyone else does that in their horror movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
yeah,
everyone does that too because it's A, iconic, and B, just the suspense that you can pull from something like that is. My dad loves that movie, and I remember watching it as a kid and just being so upset.
Yeah, it's
people grow these limbs, and the hair isn't right. The faces look unhuman, but not because they're puppets or anything.
It's really disturbing.
Yeah,
and when you like see the thing and it's like got a head, but then it's like crawling or something,
and it's got the legs and like it's so violent too. You know what I mean? Like the pulling apart, the body horror element again.
Yeah,
it's such an invasion, which again is because it's an alien, but like it's an affront on the self, like on your body, because you have it's so violent to watch something like that just come apart and be this thing, basically.
Yeah, and it's so creepy because it's really intelligent too. It's sneaky and it's stealthy. And
it can connive. It's manipulative. It gets it.
Yeah, it's a very scary movie. One of John Carpenter's best movies. That and like Halloween. Like great movie. So what's your number 2?
Oh, it was Aliens.
Okay, so that was your number. Okay, so what's your number 1?
Cabin in the Woods.
Okay, cool.
Again, because I'm not a huge horror fan. I like it when it can actually, like, I don't like the axe murderers generally, unless it's something like Halloween. But that's because I feel like that had more to say than just an axe or a knife killer. But I like it when it's something that will genuinely frighten me. And there's elements of Cabin in the Woods that do freak me out, like, because they bring all of them. They bring literally every element that will freak you out. It's got the werewolves. It has a unicorn. Like, it has the creepy mermaid. So that guy's just dying to see.
Yeah, and they come for him.
Yeah, and it's just, again, it's one of those times where you're like, should I be laughing? Should I be freaking out a little bit? Like, yeah, I think it's pretty good. It's
really brilliant, actually. It's brilliant. It's probably the most brilliant meta horror film since like Scream. Like, it's just so like, because like from the jump, you know, okay, something's up. why are they juxtaposing these
Exactly.
suits with these teenagers? Like, what's the rub?
Exactly.
And then when you start to see, it's like, oh, that's really clever and funny.
Yeah. It's just, it doesn't take itself too seriously either. Like this is what it is, man. You can take it and you can run with it. It even has like the crazy god element at the end of it with Sigourney Weaver. And I love the choices Sigourney Weaver's been making lately. I don't know if you saw Paul, the little alien movie with Seth Rogen.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's older now at this point, and it's okay, but she's in it and it's great. But yeah, it has like the. I just realized I have to feed my dog in a minute. Sorry.
Okay, yeah, no worries. My favorite part of that was like, so Chris Hemsworth is like, he like gets on a bike and he's like trying to make the
because like, you know something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, like I literally like was blown away and then I just started laughing my ass off.
The thing that creeped me out the most though was when the little ballerina girl. I don't know if you remember that. Like, there's like those cages.
Oh, yeah, and then they like unleash all these things.
Yep, and she's dancing, and she just turns around. Her face is just teeth, like it's just a mouthful of teeth, and that creeped me the frick out.
Yeah,
and I just like the way it looked too.
Yeah, no, it was a great film.
Yeah.
So my number one is Alien, the 1979 Alien. Yeah, another like just one of the greatest horror films ever. What I really liked about it is like the production design is so good. It's like the way they make the spacecraft look, like it is seamless. It is perfect. And it came out like a couple years after Star Wars, so you can see similar elements, like making something that's new look old.
Yes.
And because like they're just a bunch of space truckers, and so they're basically in a giant trucking,
Yeah, and they even kind of present themselves and kind of look like that too a little bit.
Yeah,
they're greasy.
Very like very working class kind of people.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it takes a while to get to the alien reveal, because even at the dinner table scene or whatever, that's terrifying and stuff like that. I forget the name of the character, but he looks up and like that's when like the alien's like crawling down or whatever. Ugh.
Yeah. There's a lot of good. There's a couple good kills, like the one where the dude is like he's got the flamethrower, and he's looking for him, and there's this like clanging. I feel like Ridley Scott, like that, and like Blade Runner. There's a bunch of films where they like do these things with like ambient noise that's very creepy. Like there's a scene in Blade Runner where Deckard is going to find what's his name. And then he finds Pris, but he's just like he's in this apartment, and he's just looking around, and there's all these toys and stuff, and there's this noise from the street. Yes. There's this like, and it's just very off-putting because you can't, because you're trying to concentrate, like, okay, what's going on? But there's this weird stuff going on, and in that scene where the guy's like in the shaft, you just hear this clang. It's like clang, 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 clang.
The beeping of the computer.
Yeah. There's all this stuff, and then he turns around and he just gets killed.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, because generally like we look to the musical score to guide us with how a scene is going to go with like suspense or whatever, but when there's no music, when it's just the natural noises of the environment, it's very off-putting because we're used to being led by the hand a little bit. No Country for Old Men was bothering me while I was watching it, and I couldn't understand why until I realized there is no musical score in that movie. And as soon as I realized that, I was like, I have no idea what's going to happen next.
Yeah,
I have nothing.
Absolutely. That's a great example because it just heightens the tension. Like there's a scene in that where Shiger is coming after what's his name, and like he's like in an apartment or something, and then he's like he knows he's coming, and he's waiting for him at the door with a gun, and he's waiting there for maybe like 10 seconds. But it feels like forever because he's just waiting.
Oh yeah, it feels way longer than it actually is.
And then like the doorknob shoots at him, and then he fires at the gun, and he jumps out the window, and it's like whoa.
And then the chase scene, I was like, "Where's the music? Where's the suspense or whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh, there isn't going to be any."
Yeah,
You just have to let it happen.
Yeah, it just makes you feel uneasy the whole time. You're like, oh, because usually like there's a musical crescendo that it's like, or there's a build. Yeah, there's a build like, but if there's no build, you're like, is it coming now? Is it coming now? Is it coming now? And then it just happens.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, so that was our episode. Those were our top 5. Yeah, that was awesome. So, well, thanks a lot for coming by. I really appreciate it. It was great talking with you.
It was great talking with you too. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah.
So, all right. And so how can people like find you and your channel and all the stuff you do?
You can look up PharaohHazard at youtube.com. On Twitter, I am Margot Pontoon. Actually, and I think Instagram, it's The Truth According to Lily. So 3 different names for my 3 social medias instead of keeping it things simple. That's how you can find me.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and just definitely check out like your channel. You've been making a lot of great content for a long time. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate hearing that. Mm-hmm. I didn't think anybody actually watched.
Yeah, no, people do. You're putting good things out there into the ether, into the Videodrome. So.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate hearing that.
Yeah. All right. Well, signing off. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a good night.
Have a good day.